This stuff actually looks killer. I'm very excited. This stuff's further along than the other fields, just by a little bit. But corn on corn here.
You are now watching the 2023 season of Farming with Duffy Ag.
Welcome back to the channel. So let me give you the rundown of what is going on. Well, we got some horsepower here. So T7 270, pulling a Hardy sprayer, 45-foot booms. But we do have GPS in this, so we can, well, map out paint where we've been. Gives us a little more idea. 60-foot boom would be better off because the planter's 20 foot wide, so every 3 you go down the middle. But we're gonna make this work. I really appreciate the buddy who let me borrow it. This morning, well, I loaded it with water last night, so we got to get it loaded up. Cows are looking good out there, looking very good out there. I did turn on, which I'm learning as I go. So this site has 2 ground wells and then a spring that is fed in that pond. The spring's not hooked up right now, but I just turned on the groundwater, or the well out back. I'm thinking I almost feel like there was 4 sources of water. But coming into the barn, we got a well in the barn, we got a well out back, and then the pond. And once I turned on that spring, we got a lot more water flow than we did last night. So very happy with that. I'm gonna get the sprayer loaded. We're gonna spray weeds and grass pretty much. That's what we're spraying. Very excited to get that done and be able to go on to the next thing. This was the piece we've been waiting for. So appreciate you guys watching along, liking, subscribing, and me and Anko are gonna get after it. At some point, Jono's probably gonna run the sprayer and I'm gonna hang out. Not really just hang out, but you know. Got it agitating it up, so that is good there. In the time it took me to load the sprayer and start agitating, pretty much this tote's full. So our water source with that second well turned on is very good. So I'm excited for that. Means we can spray more in a day. I'm hoping today and tomorrow, and we'll be done. I'll get that back to my buddy, and yeah, quite the setup. I'm excited for it. Load number 1 actually went really well, so we're going out for load number 2. I'm spraying the earliest stuff that I planted. The later stuff, we will hit it probably today as well, but earlier stuff has the weed pressure in it. Later stuff is just so much more consistent, which is, it is what it is at this point. But we're gonna be okay with the corn. I was a little nervous. We do got some weedy spots, but this should clean it right up. And then yeah, a lot of it's grass pressure and stuff like that. So we'll keep going. I'll probably spray 1 more load for myself, and then I'll put Jono in it, and I can go on with everything I gotta do. So this is the thing. We did make it to 4th of July, knee high by the 4th, as you see here. But in this same exact spot here, we walk over here, this stuff was planted at the exact same time, and it just didn't have enough moisture in some spots that it was spotty. So they're catching up as far as what it is, but as you see, there's quite the difference between some of it. But this corn's some good corn. So we're just cleaning up some of the weeds in between it. We'll go from there. I am rather glad I'm in a 4-wheel drive tractor because, well, that was wet down in there. Man, ran over some corn trying to get back in my path. And I found a few spots in the middle of the field that have some wet spots in it. I don't know if there's a tile issue there or what, but we sank pretty good. So I'm really, even though this is overkill of a tractor for the sprayer, yeah, it saved me. The 4640 would have been sunk there. The one thing I am learning on some of these hillsides, with a pull type sprayer, you run corn over because it slides one way or another, doesn't track very well. But yeah, long-term goal is to have a self-propelled 60-foot sprayer and a 60-foot and self-propelled. They're easy to come by because, oh, let me get back to you. Let me focus on getting this done. Gotta love it. Painting away. You guys can't see much. There we go. Perfect finish right there. So it was very wet back there. I was very nervous. So yeah, we were digging through there. This stuff doesn't look that pretty, but it's wet down in here. That's kind of why. Well, you can see they're staying in water. Wow. We'll finish up this little corner, jump on this one, and then we'll be out of spray. Just over 40 acres done. I did this right side one, this left side one. We'll come back to that. I'm gonna put some source on it. So I am spraying source. I'm being selective on where I put it based on what we had for soil samples. My rented ground, a lot of that doesn't have as much organic matter in the soil, so that the product should work better there. We are going to do some strips here of testing, same with out front and some other places. So I'm excited for that stuff and to show you guys. So, well, we'll get that tote picked up. I don't really have a 90 for it, so I'm hoping we can just like guide it in there. And then I'll get loaded with 400 gallons of water, do 20 more acres, which will put us at 60 acres so far for the day. I got the hillside, and then pretty much everything else is more level ground. So we'll see, it's loading up right now. Nope. Look at us go. We have zero idea what we're doing. So this whole tote thing was a afterthought. About 10 minutes before we left to go get the sprayer. But look at that. That is factory. We are filling like anything. Alrighty, we got life figured out. Back to filling this. That went very quickly. I'm glad I picked that up. So that'll come in useful for when we have cows in other locations other than where they can get water right here. We could truck some water to them so that they can graze. But we are agitating. Put the lid on. We'll get going. Well, that corn's moving along. Hell of a view I got up here. I was worried the turkeys were gonna get in here and eat a bunch because they do come over the hill. They've ate some, but overall, it'll be better than just having wasted pasture ground up at the top. We'll rotate it out. Jono did bring up a good thing. I wanted to fence this sideways. He said if you fence it up and down, it's better because then you don't have a laneway of cows having to go up a hill, like a dirt laneway in the mud or like that. It will actually be. And then he said run it along the bottom and then you can jump the road and go over into the other ravine. I think he's got a good point. Well, here's where the planter messed up, and as you can see, we got rows on rows on rows. So we replanted the outside ones, but these got double planted. I'm trying to see how far along we went, so I'm gonna run over some of it. It don't matter. But yeah, quite. Where are we? Right here. This is double planted. So like 100 foot. So I replanted a little bit more than I needed to. But this stuff is later on, planted late after we took the grass off, and it's going. It does need a shot of urea in some spots. It'll get that. It'll get up a little bit taller, and then we'll give it a shot of urea. So, but figured spray it off, clean it up, give it a good fighting chance. Well, that's about 60 acres done. We're right on the money on the spray. as far as usage. John got this one filled up. We're gonna actually run to town. I gotta get some supplies, some food. There's a list. I made a list, but I'll throw the hose in here and then let it fill up as we go to town. Pick up, extend out. So these are 45-foot booms, and then we go into map. And so when I tap this down, it starts mapping. Just gives you a general idea. You could run GPS on this, but it doesn't line up with any of my rows. So everything's got to line up for that. So from there, we're running about 5.5, 6 miles an hour. I am gonna do all of this field except for one pass, and then we're gonna put the good stuff in. So we got a comparison out here. Source DC. So we had Nate in previously, and he really gave us a good rundown. I'll leave a tab at the end so you can check it out. But 1 fluid ounce per acre. This is good on wheat, cotton, alfalfa, grass, hay, and corn. So very excited. Pourability is a little bit better on this. We're not doing any soybeans, so we won't see any of that this year. But it could go on grass. Pretty much everybody I know who's tried Source has completely gone in on it and absolutely loves the product. So 25 units of nitrogen. That is why we have flags out in the front field, and that is why we pulled 25 units of nitrogen out of 2 strips, so that once we spray them, we can do tissue samples and compare side by side, see if we're good in our game. I'm spraying most of what I have on my rented ground due to, in mediocre soils where there's not as much organic matter, this stuff wakes up the microbes, the bugs, gets everything rocking and rolling. And yeah, very awesome, great people. So I'll put a link down below to their website. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, who's my local dealer? Drop it in the comments. I'll do the best I can, but we're gonna leave, it might be 2 strips in the middle so we can just see a comparison of it. And yeah, we'll come back, check it out. But sprayed at V4 works great, or you can come if you're doing fungicide. But the V4, I think it has a better hold because of the timing of it. So we'll get the grass taken care of in here, and then we'll spray some on. We'll mix it right in the tank, so that's a big part of it. Okay, so we got about 60 foot, maybe a little bit more left in the middle here, that we are gonna put Source on. So how it works is 1 ounce per acre. I'm spraying 20 gallons per acre. Minimum rate is about 10. Like I said, it can go in with your whole pass setup right alongside your herbicides. So I got roughly 450 gallons left in here, which will give me, figuring out my phone, should do the math before I turn the camera. So 450, 22.5. So we'll put the 22 and a half ounces in there. So let me get the good stuff. We got everything there. Fluid ounces. Let me mix it up. So this does say shake it. It gives you the whole directions of how to wear it, where to store it. So shake, best results, shake vigorously. Add to tank, mix last. 10 gallons plus per acre of water. So yeah. So I'll shake it up, then we'll dump it in. And right now the tank's actually agitating. That's why that PTO pump is still running. Oh, this pourability is so much better than last year. So, you guys see that? Good pourability. 20, 22, a little bit. So we got some left in it for our next tank load. So if you all were part of this last year, you'll remember the pourability wasn't nearly as good. Like it was kind of stickier and stayed in the container. So this is awesome. We're always working towards getting better formula, and it is getting released on more and more crops. So I'll let that agitate up, then we'll get this sprayed, and once we get this, we got enough in here to finish the home farm, which is a good feeling. Pretty good corn. So this is where it dropped, well, from right there over. Got a 60-foot swath, which is 3 rows, 3 planters. Dropped 25 pounds of nitrogen in it. This corn looks pretty good. I'll give it that. I'll definitely give it that. Stuff's looking great. Yeah, cleaning up things. The last stuff I planted, pretty clean, pretty nice, consistent. Well, gotta get over here and big bale all this too, so that's on the list. And I should have picked that rock, I forgot about it. But Isaiah and Aaron, that's the plan of having them come big bale. And they're right after it, chopping second and everything else like that. So I'm excited to have some big bales put in the shed. Yeah. Another great part of newer tractors, 30 miles an hour. Set at 31, we're just pulling a hill. But you get moving pretty quickly and you can cover some ground with these. There you go. Alrighty, headed back to load up again. Well, with this load going in, that'll make it over 100 acre day, which is good. So we got this water already filled. Probably get Jono, he's been in the house. I think he's getting bored with me. Well, he's actually leaving in 2 days. We got to drop him back off at the airport, New York City. So we're gonna miss him. But I told him to take the sprayer and go spraying, and I don't blame him. He said, I don't want to run over somebody else's crop. You're gonna run some over no matter what. But let's see what we got left in here. Just about empty. That was perfect. I love it when a plan comes together. So yeah, when I fill this, we're gonna hit 100 acre day, which is pretty good. Having this made all the difference. This water actually fills pretty fast now that I got the drip life figured out with turning the second well on. So like I said before, this barn and the water system set up to milk cows. So bathtub a day for milk cows. As far as water consumption, it makes for quite a bit of water use. Tote is empty. I could tip it a little bit, get a few more gallons out of it, but it's empty. It ain't gonna take much longer for it to actually fill up. So Fills up pretty quick when you get up towards the top because everything's well sloped in the back, and then it narrows up. So I'll start getting my chemicals ready, and then we'll get one more load done today, and tomorrow we'll be able to finish up. So solid day of pushing, which is really, really good. Probably could have run one more load today, but we did run into town. I did have to edit video middle of the day for you guys, because by the time we got home last night and got running early this morning, yeah, it's all part of it. But let me back this up, throw some chemicals in, and this belt got a little bit of a wear right there, but oh, that's got it in a few spots. Eric said this belt is just a regular Napa belt, so well, this stuff ain't doing too bad. Like, I'd say we're doing okay. Up at the front of the road, it had a little more weeds in it. Down back here, it doesn't. I take it the field I made, I dissed. What are you eating? Don't worry, we're not standing anywhere that got sprayed yet. Because I know somebody's gonna say that. So this stuff actually looks killer. I'm very excited. This stuff's further along than the other fields, just by a little bit. But corn on corn here, and clearly it's working. So very pumped. Thing that I'm gonna fight here, deer and turkeys. Because when we pulled in, there was about 10 deer in here and probably 20 turkeys. And well, he did what he does. But very excited about this over here, actually. Later, stuff that was planted later, not by much, but later stuff definitely did better. So should have planted everything a little bit later when moisture got into it. So this stuff's gonna rock and roll, and I'm gonna keep spraying along. I'll run this tank right out, and then tomorrow we'll push the rest of it through. Well, if we think back to planting, couldn't really see the marker arm, and as you see, I got this whole weavy thing. So it'll be a lot nicer next year. We'll have the Yetter arms on, and we'll have the FJ Dynamics guidance in the 4640 for steering. So that's something I still got to put in, and we won't get all these weaves. And I know there's people that say, oh, you don't need any of that. If you got it, you might as well use it. So I held the steering wheel, and I'm holding the steering wheel right now. And if those rows were straighter, probably put more seed in the ground. Somebody's gonna say crooked rows make more, but look at my gap. So a little embarrassing, but yeah, we're moving along. Got quite a bit to spray over here. I'll probably be out of product shortly here, and I'll just run home. We'll call it a day. It is 8 something now, so the sun is setting, so I don't want to spray into the night. Well, that's gonna do it. I got the laneway up through here that I gotta mow at some point. Tomorrow we gotta spray this one, we gotta spray that one, we got some out back to spray, we got some more over there to spray. Then we'll be done. I am actually really happy with how this corn is over here. There's a little fawn out there I can see laying down. And there's deer over there eating them, and I've let Yanko out, but once it gets sprayed, I don't really want him running through the spray, you know. So it's Mother Nature feeding the deer. So alrighty, I'm gonna jump home. Tomorrow we're gonna hit it hard. I appreciate you guys watching along. Maybe I can get Jono, he talked about flying the drone, get him over here, fly the drone some, and give you guys some bird's eye view. But yeah, this setup has been awesome. I think I'm at like 110, 115 acres for the day, which isn't bad for literally yesterday evening, getting the sprayer, getting the water tank, and just sending it. So alrighty, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.